What's up, Austin? Thanks again for reaching out and ordering a watch from me, man. Built this watch for you, for your friend, and did it very, very close to what we did for you before, with a few modifications, right? So, commemorative chip dial. This is this is an image for those others that are watching. This was an image provided off of a commemorative chip. So, since those chips can be lost over time, we took that image and then custom screen printed it. So I did one for him before, and then he wanted to do one in like an orange, white, black-esque kind of vibe. So adjusted the colors on it, had it custom screen printed over a brass dial. So we'll look just like what he had before. So same case, which is a brushed 350 case. We did, before we did a one-piece milled diver bezel, which I only have a couple of those. I only have one of those left that's unpainted, and I've got a few that are painted, and it's enamel filled, and you have to like put them in the oven for like, put them in like boiling water for so long before it even breaks up. So unless I want to use like a drab green, which typically is like a military style color, which makes you think pilot watch, not diver watch. So, but one piece diver was on that watch. We did a coin on this one so that I could do a resin filled diver style insert. This is done in orange to go with that orange dial. And in different lights, you got different colorations of orange, which is pretty cool. And then your area here, it kind of looks like it's black, but it's more of a gunmetal color. So you've got that for your first 20 minutes. So that's perfect for like, if you got to be somewhere in 15 minutes or whatever it is, as long as it's, anytime it is, all you have to do is just adjust it to the current time, put that right on your seconds hand or your minute hand, and then that would calculate you out. So if later on you got to be there at this time, you can set it however you want. So it's kind of cool for that. You don't always have to use it for the diver sense, but that's what it was originally set it for. Bezel on it's pretty tight. It'll go left, it'll go right, but it is on there fairly tight. And then on the one we did before, we did a Milanese band. We kept it pretty low profile, low weight. This one we have an Italian leather strap. This is a white leather, orange stitching with orange edge painting with the paint you can use for leather. And super soft, super pliable from my guy Constantine over in Romania with a Preview buckle. And then custom lasered box, obviously custom lasered to match on the back as well. And then I did the same silver hands as I did on the other watch, which are a version of a paddle hand with a long loom seconds hand. And that is your watch, man. Just like the other watch before, this has a rotor in the back, and as you're moving, it's moving and keeping time, right? So if as you're moving your hand around, there's a pendulum there, and it's always weighted to the bottom. So as you're moving back and forth, it's kind of just doing these little kind of movements and putting wind into the mainspring, which powers your watch, right? But before you set your time, before you put it on, make sure you wind it just a little bit, pre-wind it, because if you're not as active, you're not moving around as much, you could lose time. So if you're driving or something like that, you might look at your watch and like, my watch isn't even running. Well, if you've just been sitting there with your hand in the same spot the whole time and you didn't do any kind of winding to it, it's just going to have whatever is left over from the last time it was running, because it's a mainspring that's slowly opening itself, I guess, out. That's my understanding of it, as I don't get into the depths of the movement, but that's my understanding of it. So, but anyway, How you do that is you back the crown off the threads until you hear it and feel it clicking. It's going to come off that crown tube. You're going to feel you got a little bit of play there. You can see you can go back and forth. You know you're not on that crown tube, right? And at that point you can wind. And a wind is a turn away from you, clockwise as you're looking up from the side. Counterclockwise still clicks, but it does not wind. So I go back and forth. This way's wind, this way does nothing. But for me, it's easier than this because when I do this, I start threading it back on, and then I got to do this anyway, right? So I like to just keep my hand there. I kind of essentially rub the front of my finger on this because it's just right there. But that keeps me spaced. So if you do this for 4 or 5 seconds, I hate this platform this is on. It always moves as I move my arms. I have to hold my arms like a gorilla, like way out to go around this platform that my watch sits on. And anytime I sit it, I rock the thing back and forth because it's not the most ideal setup, but it's what I have. But anyway, 4 or 5 seconds of this mixed with the rotor movement from you going through your day will keep your time. If you do it for another 4 or 5 seconds, you just sit here and keep going, 10 seconds or so total, you're going to max out your 31-hour power reserve on it, which means if you did this and you set the time and you set the watch down, in 31 hours, it should be running down. A lot of times I get like 33, 34 out of them, but I think it's 31 plus or minus. So at that point, the watch will be dead. So if it had no movement, no nothing, it just sat on a desk, whatever, in 34 hours, it will stop. And then if you pick it up and you move it just a little bit, you might see it go for a little bit. But as soon as you back this off the crown and you do that, it's going to start going again, right? So wind it as you need. You don't have to do a crazy amount of wind before you put it on, but you want to put on a little bit just to make sure that you're solid. Anyway, after you're done with that, you're going to pull it to the one and only click. It's going to come out a little bit further. You can actually see that stem in there now. You can see that you've got more play there. That is actually a wobble crown, and what that does is it deflects lateral pressure from going into the stem and into the keyless work. So if you kind of put a little bit of, you're not bending, but it's not a solid where like you could put side pressure, so it kind of rolls a bit. Okay. So at that point, you can now set your time. You'll notice the seconds hand is going to keep going. These do not have a hacking movement. They on many other watches, when you put it into that time setting, that seconds hand stops. And it's for like super accurate, like setting the time. Because like if you think about it, if you're like, oh, it's exactly 6 o'clock. Well, yeah, it's exactly 6 o'clock, but it's 6 o'clock and however many seconds, right? So you're not quite as accurate setting your time there. So Alexa, what time is it? 3:06 p.m. So yeah, 3:06 p.m. But is it 3:06 p.m. and 50 seconds? So, if you actually really get into it, you can kind of look and see like actually what time it is and go, oh, okay. I need to put that seconds hand or that minute hand a little bit closer to 3:05 versus 3:06. So anyway, just getting into like hacking and non-hacking. So I've never had anybody like complain, but just in case you get somebody out there who's really like firm on like perfect time, very close, super close. But without that hacking, because if the seconds hand stopped, then you could just literally wait until that seconds hand is at the proper time for like the world clock, and then push it back over, and then you're set up, the same with him. And as long as your watch doesn't have any kind of gain or loss in per day, and you're always keeping it wound, which none of them have that, you would always match the world clock. So it's not an exact science, to actually keep that time, but with this, you have that going for you too. So push it back over, get it out of that time setting. If you have it kind of there, once you push it over, it will disengage the clutch system. So I often like just do like a little tap over to make sure I'm like kind of throwing it back into that first position. But sorry for the longer video. I know this is your first watch from me, and I'm just kind of going over some stuff that, you know, sometimes I don't necessarily go over. There's people who have watches that, you know, some people ask stuff, some people don't. But sorry for the longer video on that. But just extra info. It's going to come with custom beads from the wife. Entirely up to you how cool you are, whether you style your watch with beads. It's going to come with your custom slider box and custom Atlas pillow in there. Got a person on Etsy that makes those for me, and they're $4 a pop, but they're nice. They're super, super, super nice. So, actually, this whole thing right here, all this is $20. So, but one of them comes super cool. So, there's your slider box. You're going to have a few things with your watch. You're going to get some watch cleaner. That's good on all glass and metal. So everything here in the center. This will keep, it's non-streaking, non-toxic, non-residue. You're going to have that with a microfiber. So if you ever get anything on this, just, this is a foamer. So just foam onto that, not onto this. You'll know why. You do it once, you're going to be like, holy crap. There's way too much on this watch. So, watch cleaner, glass and metal. Leather conditioner. This is good to keep this strap perfectly soft. You'll probably never need this, but just in case, use a rag or something like that. Apply it on the front and the back. Let it soak in. Remove any excess. A little bit will go a long way. Like I said, you probably don't need it for that, but if you ever feel this is abrasive or anything along those lines, put that on there. Or other watches, not as pliable. And then lastly, you're going to get some fine scratch remover. This is Novus 2 from Amazon, just repackaged. It is for your domed acrylic glass because you can scratch it. If you do, you'll put a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of this on it, and you'll buff it out with the other microfiber. If the scratch is up and down, just go left and right, filling that scratch. Haze it, generate some heat with your thumb. You're kind of filling that scratch up, and then buff it off with, you know, a clean section of that microfiber, and it's completely gone. And if for some reason it's not gone, it's a little bit deeper, wait a little bit, let that solidify, and like go back and visit again, like building that up. And then lastly, since you have a brushed case, if you ever scratch your brushed case, just use the green side of a Scotch-Brite and brush in the scratch. So if you get it on the sides, just do single passes with the green side. If you get it on the face right here, it's rounded. Do single rounded passes. Don't go back and forth. You'll start doing lines instead of rounded lines. So, you know, I kind of hold it here and I pull it down, pull it down, pull it down. You won't the scratch will still be there, but you're going to blend it in and not make it perfectly stand out by itself. So that's your watch, buddy. Hope you love it. And if you want me to build you something custom, you need to reach out and I'll see what I can do. And if you want to continue to see videos like this, like and subscribe, so I do them all the time. Thanks, guys.